Good afternoon, everyone. Mary Sloan here with another episode of Inspirational Influencer News, Secrets of People Making Money While Making a Difference. And my guest this afternoon, Stephanie Pimental. How do you get real business credit is the question that she wants us to ask ourselves. And really when I first looked at it, I thought, well, you go to the bank. But no, that's not necessarily the greatest idea. So stay tuned because you're going to learn a lot about the difference between your bank and real business credit. Stephanie has been immersed for over a decade with supporting business owners with growing financial issues. Stephanie's continuously obtaining more financial education and gathering more tools and resources to be able to support as many business owners as possible. With a passion to support business owners having working capital so they don't have to exhaust their personal credit while they are growing, she works with business owners, entrepreneurs, and investors with multiple resources, including networking, acquiring capital and funding they need, and whatever else they need to make their dreams and ambitions a reality. So this is certainly somebody you may want to find on LinkedIn or Facebook if you want to get real business credit. So Stephanie, where do we start? Maybe we should start at the beginning. What do you think?
Awesome. And Mary, thank you for your just graciousness. I'm grateful for you and being on your show, and love all your guests that you have, just really spreading inspiration and education in the world. So thank you.
Thank you.
So starting at the beginning, right? So like you said, so many people think, well, business credit, of course, I'm going to go to my bank. Well, the bank has a box that you have to fit into. And then there's everyone outside the box. So yes, your bank is a great place to go to attempt, see if they're going to give you a business credit card or a business line of credit. That's great. Number one, the question would be to them, are they actually going to put it on business credit files? A lot of banks are not even going to know what you mean because they don't teach it. They don't teach that, hey, there's your personal credit and there's business credit. Now, then that takes us to the question is, how do you get business credit files, right?
Wow, that's interesting, because no bank's ever asked me that.
No, and because 80% of banks don't even file on business credit files because it's a personal guarantee, which most business funding is, but they are not supporting a business owner because they're not trained in it. It's not in their world. So business owners, entrepreneurs, investors have to look outside of the traditional. And oftentimes, then they start going, okay, well, so how do I even start a business credit file? Once you have an entity, and this is for the US, Canada is after a business entity is over 2 years. In the US, okay, we can support startups as well.
Oh, interesting.
But once you're have an entity, then you have in the US an EIN number. Once you have the EIN number, then we support you in obtaining the DNB number, which anyone could do. It's free. Note, DNB makes money. So be leery of what they're offering you, and you don't have to buy anything from them. It's just they are the I guess portal to obtain the number that then the credit bureaus that set up business credit files will use. Okay.
Interesting.
And that is DNB, Dun & Bradstreet is the name of them, Equifax and Experian. And there is a business credit scoring system that's completely different from our personal credit in the US.
Interesting.
hmm And so most people know our US system is TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. And how they score is typically 100 to 800, 850, 8 something. They fluctuate, all three of them. But that's the general idea. If you have above of 700, you're like, whoo, I can get any funding anywhere, right? And if you have a 300, 400, well, 400 usually, or under 500, it's like, this is really bad.
Oh dear. Well, you know, just before we go on, because we've been talking between Canada and the US, and I certainly have listeners on both sides
Yeah.
of the line. And I was at a meeting where a lawyer who helped people like me who do business in the US, and she said, you are absolutely crazy not to set up a real business entity in the US, because otherwise you personally are completely exposed. And of course, I need that business entity if I'm going to go get business credit. So that's an interesting crossover that
Yep.
I haven't quite yet crossed over. It's on my to-do list now, you know, because all of it starts to go together into a system, and you can see how where the value comes. You know, it looked to me like it was a big expense, you know, like I don't expect anybody to sue me. You know, it's like, what am I doing that's anybody's going, you know, it's not likely. But
Right.
on the other hand, because it taps you into a whole new system, that's a huge opportunity
Right.
that we can tap into even as Canadians. So that's a really interesting,
Right. Because once you set,
distinction.
absolutely. And that was brilliant, Mary. Because once you have the US entity, now you file with the IRS to obtain an EIN number, which is an employee identification number. That EIN number then is okay, now you're connected to the IRS. Then you have the DNB, the Dun and Bradstreet number. So now you're connected to the credit files. So all three of those pieces come together for funding. And what's great about business funding is an entity, even a startup in the US, you can start applying, and we have a funding marketplace that our funding advisors, our team supports everyone, no matter where they're at.
Wow.
And this includes even if they have the bad credit that we were talking about, that basically if it's under 650, we got work to do. That's all. And it's just work. It's not, you know, nothing to feel bad about. It's nothing personal. Just note the system isn't really set up for business owners to succeed, because everything's being attached to their personal credit, and it's a personal guarantee. And what it does is it like literally is choking their personal credit to where nobody's going to fund them. So what we offer is like, hey, let's get some relief. So let's get you some relief on your personal file. Let's support you building up your business files so that we can get most of your business funding, which is business capital that you're using. And it doesn't matter whether you have a restaurant or a chiropractor office or you're an work from home business. You're always needing capital for marketing. That's number one. And
Absolutely.
then other businesses need it for supplies or equipment. We do equipment loans. We do commercial real estate loans. We do small business loans for the US. So now, once you have your business credit files established, we want to start building those. And it's baby steps at first. Now let's go back to the credit file numbering system, scoring system. Business credit is typically 1 to 100 compared to the 100 to 800 that personal is. Very strange, right?
Yes.
That's how it is. So for businesses, it's not a big deal. It's easy to start obtaining business funding and having good credit because the score goes 1 to 100. That's it.
Oh,
So we
interesting.
support you in that, right? Then let's see. I wanted to circle back because we brought up the banks. So once you have your business established, you're going to set up a checking account, a business checking account. If you have a business checking account and a relationship with a bank, you might get funding very easily. Note, they're still going to put it on your personal credit. Okay? So just know, ask, ask, ask. You want to be clear about where and who is putting stuff on your credit. So that's the biggest tip I can give is ask, ask, ask.
Interesting. Interesting. So I have a question that came up just because of the fact that I started down this Canadian road. So I might as well help.
Canadian road to U.S. entity. Yeah.
Do you have an entity that helps people there? If we wanted to go create an LLC or whatever it is that we create?
I don't. I understand, though, that every state has representatives that can support. So how to pick that state, I really don't know. And I would circle back to your attorney who brought that up in the first place, because that person may have connections, or at least
she
did.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
She said she did. So
yeah, I would stick
I'll
to that.
back there. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Don't have a
Just thought I'd
connection.
ask. I mean, we might as well fill in all the blanks for people.
Blanks, right? Exactly. Yeah. So in the US, a lot of business owners know the starting and because we've got, let's face it, we have YouTube University. You're on YouTube. We're on
YouTube, my favorite.
We love it. Right. So there is a ton of information. What trips people up and what gets convoluted is that a lot of times they're being taught to open up accounts for their business with companies that have office supplies, or it's a limited amount of what they can buy, and they can only buy what that company offers, including fuel cards or specific store type cards. Well, that's great. And what that does is basically give you a 30-day. So what they're saying is, hey, you're going to buy for us. You don't have to pay. We're going to invoice you. You're going to pay it in 30 days. Then we'll report to your business credit. You paid us. But for a lot of business owners, that's not paying for your marketing. That's not helping you as investors. That's not helping you and buying the equipment that you need or the products that you need to fund to work in your business. So I just wanted to put that out there. It's not a bad idea. It's a great way to start credit if you can, if you need to do it that way, but you don't have to do it that way. That's not the only way to do it.
Well, it certainly sounds like you need a guide. This is, it's sort of like investing. I've been investing for a lot of years, but the minute that there's a dollar sign, or now even a Bitcoin sign or something, it's immediately much more complicated. So you need help.
Yeah, and it's really, that's why I offer as my business a support to give free information, work with all of my clients. And like I said, we have this huge team, because if the funding exists on the planet, we can get it. And so if we can get you qualified, that's all that it is. It's just getting all the pieces put together to get you qualified. So whatever it is that you're working on, reach out to me. Let me know how, and we'll work together to get you to that place. And our funding advisors are great, even for people who need work on their credit. There's people who may have problems or issues on credit files, because it's such a tight, tight system. And one little thing, one 30-day late on a credit card or on a bill can knock a score down 100 points.
On a 100-point credit, on a 100 score? Or
Not
are
on the
you talking
business,
about
on the
Okay.
personal. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, oh,
yeah. But if you had, you have a 700 and all of a sudden you mistakenly got a 30-day late and now it's down to 700. So people have those issues, and just know everything is fixable. You can get this corrected and be able to, turn those things around. I've had clients that have even had things like bankruptcies in the past because of businesses going down. So now it hurts them personally, or a judgment because something happened business-wide. Everything was relying on their personal credit. So now they're hurt personally and in business. So that's why it's super important to really look at how to separate those two. And that's why we teach what we do. I teach what I do, and always I'll be putting up on my Facebook and LinkedIn. I'll be putting up workshops I'm going to start doing once a month, live Q&As, so that everybody can come and just ask questions, because that's really what it boils down to. Yeah.
well, it's been very interesting as I've watched YouTube and all the interesting machinations of Donald Trump and his various companies and his various misdemeanors, not misdemeanors, who knows what you call them. But I've gotten a whole education with Letitia James and discovering, how sort of, if you can manage to get big assets, the game is played, and it's not really a nice game, and all of a sudden you hide it behind a corporation, which you're allowed to do. And, as I understand that Trump was now trying to change corporate, like set up another corporation and get everything passed over, so that if in fact what she's working on did come to pass, there'd be nothing there to collect the judgments on. So it's a whole other world of crazy. It is the whole financial world, and we as coaches and things go innocently into it, thinking, well, I'm a good person and this will be easy and I'll just do the right thing, and all of a sudden it doesn't work out that way.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like our business, coaches, consultants, marketing, our business owners who, what they say, America, land of opportunity. Anybody could start a business. True. Anybody can. However,
the
things that are not taught. And when you go and you're like, okay, I'm just going to get this loan for this and this loan from that from the bank. They may even put it in your business name. Guess what? If something happens to that business, why should you be penalized when others aren't, that, like you said, have higher amount of assets or have bigger running businesses? Why can't all of us be on the same playing field so we can all make money and we all learn how to support and take care of ourselves and our family without hurting them while we're building business in that arena? So,
yeah, and there just isn't a whole ton of education out there. And even much as I love YouTube,
I know,
you have to go in there with a, if they
special pair of glasses.
Yeah, if they make a mistake when telling me how to set up a capture page, it's not going to hurt much. I'll just have to find a better YouTube video that shows me how to, create a capture page that works. Yeah. But if it tells me how to set up a line of credit that's wrong, because I didn't know the person that did the YouTube video didn't have a clue, and there's a few of them out there, then, that's another whole
mess. It's a mess, Mary.
it's a complicated world we live in,
It,
really.
it
Just,
is. It
just
really
you
is.
know, maybe we should all go back to being the hippies. You know, it's a world of love. Let's just all love one another.
Well, we're definitely working on at least the world being kind, right? Let's just be kind to one another. And how can we support with giving our gifts? And coming from a law firm where we did credit repair and bankruptcy and all of those things, and as I've evolved in my own business as being an independent supporting consultant and supporting business owners and real estate investors, because we worked with a lot of real estate investors. I've come to this place, and especially now, it seems like, there's not a lot of information, and the people that are giving information are charging a lot of money. And I don't feel that that's right to charge business owners thousands of dollars to teach them how to get business credit when banks or any entity, like where's that missing piece? There's this missing piece of somebody wants to start a business. Great, start your entity. You can do it online. Anybody can look it up to do it in any state. I think almost all. I don't think you need attorneys anymore. And you go to the IRS and get this employee EIN number, and that's all they know. There's
That's
nothing,
it.
nobody else telling you anything else unless you run across it somewhere and go, oh, that sounds like a great idea. Then you don't know, is this right information or is this wrong information? Why
Well,
am I
and
having to spend so much money for this information? And we're talking thousands of dollars. And I'm like, this is not. Yeah.
so do you have what? Okay, what entity are you operating to do this inside? Are you inside a business entity, and is it something that we do business with, and how, what kinds of things do you cover versus what kinds of things we might need to go elsewhere? Like you mentioned that you don't do the incorporation bit for people.
Right. So I don't, my company, basically, I am an independent consultant as far as working with the business owners and to prepare them, get them prepared to go to the funding marketplace. And saying, and what that does is basically, and that's free, and there's no hard inquiry on their personal credit. So we're not going to hurt your personal credit. We're not going to hurt, ask you for money. We want you to know what's available to you, no matter where you're at with your personal right now, and or you have business credit or you didn't even know it existed. I'll support you in setting up the basics. Let's see what's available, what we can get you qualified for to support you in moving forward. And then building up those multiple lines of capital so that they always have working capital when they need it. Use it for marketing, these things, business is picking up. Now you're paying that off. Investments, same thing. You're using it to the investment, you're paying, the investment's paying you. Now you're paying it off.
So when you say investment, are you talking strictly about the investment in your own business, or would you invest in mutual
Real
funds?
estate.
Or, okay,
Mostly real estate, because it has it is tangible. It's a tangible purchase. Stocks, I would say, I don't know that I would take out loans to be in the stock market, but you might want to take profit from real estate and put it, or crypto or foreign currency or any of those markets. I think you might want to have something else that's bringing, like your business is bringing you extra monies for that. Maybe some kind of passive residual income could bring you those monies to support you in being in the stock market or crypto or foreign currency, any of those.
And I know that there's for employees in the US, there's 401ks, and there's a whole bunch of other strings of letters and numbers.
That's true.
That's all I know about it. But what I have heard, of course, in the markets that I play in, is that the 401k for example, if you change companies or something, like 401k may not go with you. And the reason I know about it is that there's this interesting opportunity for land banking where you can use that 401k to go into land banking, which is a whole other story. And anybody interested, I did have an interview with a guy who is very into land banking, so you can check that out. I won't go down that rabbit hole because I'll probably screw up the conversation and give you wrong information. So go find Chad's conversation and check it out. But
Awesome.
there are those kind of entities. So
Mhm.
is that something that people who might be setting up a business on the side while they're still an employee or something,
Mhm.
can they use those kind of things for funding their own business, or is there some crossover there?
So 401ks, especially with businesses, when they're considered a W-2 employee, right? So they're bringing in money and the taxes, Social Security, all of the fees are taken out of their paycheck before they get their paycheck. And out of that includes whatever money that they're putting in their 401k or pension or whatever's available from that company. Now, every 401k has its own rules, just like every
Oh
business
no!
has its own rules. So it's really up to the business of how they structured setting up the 401k with what 401k entity. So they literally have to go to their HR department and make sure that they get all of the details of rules and regulations from 401ks and anything else that they have to know how they can use that money. There is something called a self-directed IRA.
Right,
And
I've
that
heard that one too.
is an individual retirement account. It being called self-directed allows you to self-direct the monies to investments that you want. So our real estate investors, because I work with a lot of them, they will set up monies being placed in a self-directed IRA so that they could go land banking, or they could get development, or they could do fix and flips, right? Where they're rehabbing a property, or they could do wholesaling, or they could do commercial, they could do apartments, all of those things.
Okay, interesting.
Okay.
And out of that, they could also fund their own business if they wanted.
I think so. I'm not quite sure. I've never really, I mean, if their business is investments and that's what it's for, you could probably, I mean, if they could use it
Yeah,
for
no, I
that,
was thinking,
why can't,
somebody
yeah,
who has decided that they'd like to ease their way out of the employee
place
situation
situation.
and become self-employed.
I would
And
recommend set up business credit. Don't touch all that. That's got way too many rules.
okay, so not
Personally,
worry about your 401k or anything
I
to try and
I
fund it.
I would keep it for your nest egg, your retirement, your, and once you move out of the employee, then you're getting with your wealth advisor or your financial advisor to say, here's what we need to do before you exit. Make sure you have an exit plan. If you can. Sometimes you can't, I get it, but make sure you have an exit plan. But in the meantime, start up a business entity, get business funding, get all that in place before you leave.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. 30 minutes goes by, poof, when we're having a conversation. And this has been absolutely fascinating and very educational. And first of all, how can people get hold of you? And then I'll ask if you have any parting words of caution or recommendations or what you would suggest people do first. And mostly, how can they get hold of you?
Excellent. Well, I had given you my link tree so that you could put it in the
Right, it's in the description.
description below. Definitely.
People who see us on the web, wherever we are, We're in lots of places.
Exactly.
It's in the description. So
Perfect.
it's there.
You can also find me Facebook, LinkedIn, any alignable, any social media platform. Stephanie Pimental, and that's Pi Mental Mental.
Perfect. And parting words, Stephanie?
Parting words is if you have any questions about business credit or even your personal credit, reach out to me. I give free information. I'm really here to support people in providing them a way to succeed in that credit game, so to speak.
It is a
right?
game. It's all a game. Life is a great game. Play
Right.
it well. Know the
There is a
rules.
board game called life too. But we're really here to support you in growing your business, your wealth, because we all have to support each other in doing that. No one is going to support us else. No government, no business, no corporation. It's up to us. So let's do this together. And if you're interested in real estate too, I'm here to support you in that as well.
That's great. All right. Well, I hope lots of people reach out. And thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we'll see you on LinkedIn and Facebook. Yay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mary. And everybody keep being inspirational like Mary.
My goal for sure.